Hey folks, Dave here, and welcome back to Thicket Excavations Prison. This is my Let's Build project here in Fallout 4 at this custom settlement location that I am turning into a gigantic prison pit. I'm actually hearing some gunshots right now. The prison is not complete, but there still shouldn't be random gunfire. Oh wow, my settlers do not like the Mirelurk pit. Well, that's fine. Let her fire away there. Today, we're going to be working on a slightly smaller part of the build, but as you guys can see, I've been hard at work on some other areas. When I first created this initial prisoner holding area in a Let's Build episode, probably a couple months ago now, you guys remarked that the chain link fences were not quite secure. Well, that was just phase 1. As you guys can see, we now have a couple of different layers. Got some chain link fences on the outside, and quite a few junk walls to make up the outer defensive wall, as well as, of course, some of General Dave's wasteland walls over here. You are a terrible shot. This should make it a lot harder for any raider or gunner gangs out there to try and break prisoners out of the holding area before they're transferred down into the main part of the prison proper, which is the entirety of the pit, of course. I don't want to show you guys too much because I've been really working on wrapping up those defensive walls. See some pikes over there. We'll save some of that for the final tour. Again though, if I can find one of the dogs, what we're going to be working on today is a dog kennel area. Let's open this door up some. I've gotten a couple of the pet dogs that you can get from the Creation Club. It's actually my first Creation Club purchase. There's one of them. Let's hop down. It's okay. Needed a stim pack anyway. I think that's our, yep, it's our Great Dane right there. So we're going to create a kennel to house all of the dogs. Now, one of the problems that I was looking into when I was scouting out a spot for the kennel was that we don't have a whole lot of open space here at the prison. It's mostly taken up already with things like the holding area or the guard shack up there. So we're going to put it in this fence area that I've created right here. It's kind of a 2-layer fence to help protect this guard shack that overlooks the entrance. I wanted a defensive wall here so that you couldn't just come down out of these mountains and get through the broken chain link fence and then take the outer guard tower that easily. There's going to be some turrets and all to make things difficult for you, and of course General Dave's wasteland walls here are nice and secure to help out as well. So I was thinking, rather than build another structure for the kennel, it might be kind of cool to set up a kennel out of these different dog cages that's made up of different tarps and is kind of situated all over this space right here. So first things first, I think under furniture, and then aha, found it. Took a while, but it was actually under decorations and then miscellaneous. So let's place a couple of these. And we're going to make a mixed use of these metal dog cages and these, oh, don't grab the wall, these wooden ones. And of course we're not going to let things float. We're going to go through and add some platforms and make this look like a interesting area. Again, I want to avoid using the idea of making yet another structure. I'd like to actually make use of this interesting bit of hillside here. Ah, man, these gunshots are going to drive me crazy, guys. Let's go ahead and put one of my turrets over here. Seeing she really can't hit the broadside of a barn. I think you're going to be one of our prisoners for the final tour, not one of the guards. Where is she even hitting? I wanted this Mirelurk pit to actually be a part of the outer defenses, but I guess if my guards are going to shoot incessantly at them, it's going to be more annoying than anything. Let's put a laser turret up there on top of the capsule. Power it up. Oh, I think I see what the problem is. It's this one back here. It's legendary. I guess I'll put it down then.
Still in one piece.
Okay. I guess at least now I know that the Mirelurks here in the Mirelurk pit won't be attacked by my guards and turrets. And as you guys can see, they're an important part of my layered defenses here. You have some broken fencing and some wrecked cars, then some barbed wire and fencing and cars on their side here in the water, and the guards can open up the gate and add the Mirelurks to the kind of no man's land outside of the primary walls here, make it a bit harder for attackers. Although perhaps that fence should be a little bit higher. Okay, back into workshop mode. Let's get this kennel set up. Back in workshop mode, I wanted to show you guys this little section at the front of the prison camp as well. If we have time today, I want to work on a scrappy looking loading dock for right here, because this is where our trucks that you guys saw in the Bedford Station tour are going to come to pick up the resources that are being both mined and built here at the prison. So this would be our load path right through the main gate here. This entranceway with the guard tower is just for prisoners. Our resources go out this way. And I think we'll probably have time because it won't take too long to get this kennel area set up. This is probably going to be a shorter episode either way because I'm actually prepping for not only going to EA Play this week, but also 2 weeks of vacation coming up at the second half of June. I'm going to dig for some floor pieces here. It's actually the first major vacation that I've taken in a couple years, and it's going to be my first time at Yellowstone, so I am very, very excited. But the reason that this build episode is going to be a little bit shorter is I've got a mini tour, it's just me, that I'm working on to go live right before I head off to Yellowstone. So I've got to fast travel back to that build to finish it, so I can't spend too much time here at Thicket this week. How about that surprise Fallout 76 announcement last week too? That came out of nowhere. I was honestly not expecting a full game reveal. But there's definitely some controversy surrounding it already. Someone was joking that I saw that no one hates Fallout more than Fallout fans, and that is a very impassioned community for sure. But I think the news that it's probably going to have some online elements has definitely thrown people for a loop. Now, I don't think it's going to be an MMO. My guess was it's going to be some sort of co-op, but we've gotten some news since then that it might actually be some kind of survival game, like perhaps Rust or DayZ, which would be very interesting. So what I'm thinking here, guys, is we're going to have an area for feeding the dogs. And we'll have that other kennel up here. It does sound like either way, it is going to be a full-featured Fallout game, including story-based elements, just with new kinds of gameplay. And this definitely isn't a sequel, the way it's sounding, to Fallout 4 yet, so I'm okay with them trying something different, seeing it's just an offshoot game. I think to really make this area look unique, we're going to use a series of tarps, along with a few metal rooftops to just give it a unique styling. I just liked how this was going to look here, guys, with the different bits of elevated terrain that leads up to the guardhouse. So to start things off, let's do a rooftop piece from the shack category. I'll do a falling apart blanket roof piece. We'll brace it just like that. Just to keep some of the sun off of the dog houses. I can actually use one of these support pieces like that for the rooftop. That's kind of cool looking. I think I want to have some kind of almost complete wall right here for this section. And it's going to have some countertops and some storage for the dogs specifically. But I want a very scrappy wall, like one that's almost falling apart. And it could be this one right here. Make sure that looks good from down below. Let's get one more scrappy roof piece. It's going to be a bit tricky to fit this one in nicely. But we could possibly make it work better by tilting it a little bit like so. Let's move that piece out some. Hey, it's one of the dogs clipping through. It's our border collie. It's Buddy. Well, it looks like I can't actually assign Buddy to anything, so we're going to have to deal with him floating there for now. Oh, Bethesda. Let's keep on building up here. So, back here, we'll call this the dog walking area. Do all their business in the back corner. And, hopefully whoever's in that capsule has a poor sense of smell. But I also wanted to keep them in this chain link fence area, which I had already built, just to help keep them organized. And I'll put one more section of chain link there to seal up that gap, and then probably a chain link gate in the back here. Let's go ahead and do that now. That kind of works out. No need for an end pole now. I want to have a power switch for these heavier dog cages. So we'll get one set up here. Power pylon. Getting low on rubber once again. That fit? That does not fit at all. Let's see, no wireless. No need for the wireless power from this one. I have that line coming off of the telephone pole, and then down to the dog cage, which needs to be moved a bit like that. Okay. And we can power that one up too, I think. Definitely going to want to have some more tarps and all through here, but I'm liking this layered look we have going. Under structures and then miscellaneous, I've got some additional Raider style tarps that I've found in a mod. These could look pretty cool for the kennel area. Just going to have to go through and add some additional supports and figure out the best way to line them up. Yeah, I like how that looks. For the supports, let's say miscellaneous. Got a couple of the supports through here. Might work well, just the wooden ones. We've also got some ring ones up there that need connections. And for some of these, you can make them look more interesting by tilting them like that to better match the upper part of that pole. Oh, let's not move the reactor. Yeah, that's part of the base settlement. Do not want to edit that. I'll just put a metal beam right here. Like they just attached it to this extra bit layered onto the reactor. She's determined to fix whatever's going on with that thing. Just wrenching away. So now our dog cages have power. And our tarp has the initial supports, but that's actually tilted the wrong way. Let's fix that. There we go. Well, that's cool. The dogs appear to be attracted to the dog houses, which is, I mean, it makes sense on paper, but wasn't expecting it. That's nice to see. Let's add in a few more support arms for this overhead tarp because we've got a couple of corners that are still floating. So this is giving us a very custom looking structure up here for the dogs, which is what I was going for. A non-boxy, unusual building. Just gotta move that power line around it like that, and there we have it. Let's go into free cam for a second. You guys can see what that looks like right there. So kind of the angled wall style tarp piece, but held up with a bunch of different poles. That looks pretty awesome. And another dog just teleported. That's our Great Dane. Welcome back, buddy. It definitely pleases me that they are correctly, well, teleporting up here to the kennel area. I'm gonna put a light in so I can see what's going on inside of this shack piece, which is floating more than it should be. Let's fix that. And my lack of wireless power is coming back to haunt me. So, let me put a connector in here and hopefully it'll go through. That also gets our power line out of the walking space, which is what I wanted. The more I'm thinking about it, guys, I do want to do a little bit of counter section like this, perhaps. But I also want to maybe use some of the scrappier stuff from, let's say, Thematic and Practical Mod. Some of that scavenger furniture. Because this is going to be a nice junky spot for it. Yeah, there we go. Actually, I like that way better. The super scrappy countertop for the dog kennel. And they would definitely need a water pump up here, so let's go to resources. We can put a water line through here. But also, I think, a traditional pump. What's a good spot for that? Probably down here. I'll put it in dirt. Just makes a little bit more sense. Taking a look at our wooden staircases for a minute here. Just put a small one on this section. I'll put it low like that, and we'll tilt it some. Look at that, they're actually using the doghouses, or trying to. This game does not like the unusual structures that I build, guys. They're freaking out. Sorry, buddy. So I guess the more dangerous dogs would go into the metal cages with the doors that lock at night. And given that this is a high traffic area, I'm going to put a few boards down as well. Like that. It's a bit more tilt. There we are. And we'll put a board that leads out to the gate. Did he actually open this gate back here? That's what it looks like. Ha! That's looking really cool. I've got to find a Beware of Dogs sign too. I know I've got some in the mod pack. I'm going to use some of these scrappy wood pieces to fill in some detail here. You guys know me. The detail is where things really come together. We have an interesting looking structure here, but you got to bring it home. And so I'm going to add some essentially scrappy customized walls here. Give them some tilt to make it more interesting. These boards make great accessories for doing stuff like this. Just adding a bit of ground detail. Tilt them like so, thanks to the Place Everywhere mod, and get them lined up nicely. Looking for those railing pieces primarily. They're going to be way down here. But as I go, I'm going to grab stuff like this plywood to seal up the kennels. It's a sideways post. Nice. There we go. I just wanted one railing piece to put kind of like this. Lean it out some. Ooh, guys, I know two more things that can make this look really cool. First of all, I go to structures and fences, and then junk fence, go past my apparently double installed General Dave's Wasteland Walls. Oh no. I've got two copies going. Oh no. I have this barricade wall stuff here, which also makes great shack wall style add-ons like that. So now we've got a very, very unusual looking structure here. Love it. Let's use one more piece. This one looks good. To add a wall section right here. Just go ahead and place it, and then I'll lower it manually. just to give some more shelter and security for that doghouse. We also have our debris mod here, which is always nice for adding things like paper debris or bits of just scrap to make things look like they are well lived in. Probably wouldn't have a bunch of metal garbage in here because the dogs could get injured on it. But some stone debris like this would definitely make sense. Don't want to go too crazy though. Oh, you can't select those. We'll have to do a console command there to shift them into position. And prevent them from floating. That just adds some convincing elements like that fence has been there for a long time and make it look like we didn't just place it. That's enough trash inside. Let's do one more bit of gravel out here and up here. You can't really see it up there, so that's a waste. Could be some paper where they put some in the dog's pen at night. Just to add a little bit of detail like that. What was I even looking for, guys? Wow. The other tarps, I think. Man. I think I may have found them. I'm going to put this metal board in here. It's kind of like a frame where I'm going to have maybe a schedule for the dogs. We have some wall bits here. Man, you can really get down to the nitty-gritty with the detailing now, guys, with all these mods. This is awesome. Okay, gang, it's time for some decorations. We're just going to do a couple of things here. First off, because I already talked about it, let's find some graffiti that would work well for our notice board in here. Here's a good one. Quit your whining. Hard to see a bit, but I think that works well. Drop chems, not bombs. Here we go. We'll just put some notices below. That fills things in nicely. I'm gonna have to use the console to get the dogs out from being glitched through the bottom of these platforms. Oh man. While we're in SKE, that's where my OC decorator menu is. That should give us an option for some buckets in here somewhere. But I didn't have any of those in the inventory. Instead, let's do a kitchen style bucket. We do have some ceramic bowls you can place down for prepping the dog's food. A push broom would be most definitely needed because it looks like no one's cleaning this place up. I like that. It's like someone's really been slacking. What actual food do we have? Don't know if I have any actual dog food, but I do have some canned pork and beans. Yeah, there's not a lot of food in storage anymore. Mongrel dog meat? That's kind of grim. I think, guys, I'm going to have to go find some more food for decorating with, because it looks like a lot of this stuff is all used up from previous builds. No cans of dog food or anything. Not even any cram. Cram would be perfect for decorations. But for now, you guys get the idea. And then, of course, you gotta have your beware of dog sign. Let's see if I can get it onto the fence here. Probably gotta do it like that. There we go. I'll put one out here, too. Is that floating in a bunch? Yes, it is. Oh my. There we go. Okay, gang. Nope. Is that floating in a bunch still? No, it's okay. Okay. Let's save. Because, unfortunately, I am starting to get an occasional random crash while working on this settlement, and we've still got a lot to do. Let's look over here. I'm just going to build a small, scrappy loading dock. The whole purpose making the loading process of these giant trailers for the truck easier. So I think it's mainly going to be just a ramp. Now, I had described this loading dock as being a bit scrappier, which I do want it to be. But I think it's also got to be pretty heavy duty if we're moving some of these stones possibly onto it. Whoa. So I'm going to make the base out of concrete. Got this trailer lined up here as a good example of how we would pull the trucks up for loading.
False alarm.
How does that look? That's getting there. I think it could use some scrappier pieces on the side to make for a good look. First, though, maybe a few concrete pillars to help anchor it. And I want the scrappy look to really come in with the rooftop, perhaps. Got a bunch of ductwork in here now. Extra scrolling. That's a cool looking walkway. But more than I actually need here. Let's go just to our shack rooftops. And let's say if we do it like this. Ooh, this is going to be hard to align. Just to give it some sense of permanence. So it's got a slight roof over it. And we'll get some support poles next. Still not quite tall enough, though. Well, these definitely give us an idea of how not squared off the rooftop sections are. So we can get some better alignment here with the base pieces. And these should make some cool looking supports. And in fact, with these in place, I might remove those concrete pieces because they're going to look distracting. I'll try putting a top piece on them, but I might just remove them. Okay, that's definitely a scrappy ramp, but a very solid one that could be used for loading things from the prison onto those transport trucks. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today. Again, keep an eye out, as long as things go well, for that mini build before I head off for vacation. And as always, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching.